Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome to the Gamertron Show. Today, we're talking a little bit about television, TV. We're all familiar with it. You all know what I'm talking about. I don't need to give you guys a description or a history lesson on television. But I do need to say this. Television is really boring nowadays. Now don't misunderstand me, I am not completely dissing the amazing, award-winning shows that have come out the past few years. Breaking Bad, from what a lot of people have told me, Game of Thrones is a really good show. Mad Men, House of Cards, The Walking Dead, Person of Interest, and what I've heard from a lot of people, Falling Skies is apparently a good show. But tell me, how many shows is that out of the dozens, if not hundreds of other shows that are being broadcast daily? What shows do we keep getting time after time with only these very few good shows that come out every now and then? We have the same sitcoms and comedies and cop shows and cop shows and cop shows, and man, there are a lot of cop shows. Some people will point out the Sci-Fi Channel. But how much quality science fiction television actually comes out of the Sci-Fi Channel? Be honest. So besides the constant copy-paste sitcoms and comedies and cop shows and the below-average science fiction we get from the Sci-Fi Channel, how much is there really on TV? How much quality programming, exciting, interesting quality programming, is there on television? It's why television has died out for me. It's why I barely watch TV, and the only time I actually use my TV is to watch videos about video games or play video games. Now, I am an action-adventure junkie. I will not lie. I love gunfire, laser fire, explosions, adrenaline-pumping violence. But that's just me. Action is not for everybody. Some people just prefer a suspension-filled story. And I'm behind that 100%. But video games got me covered in that department too. And I've talked about this before in previous videos, how I prefer video games to movies, books, and television because of the interactivity of video games, how I am in control, make my own choices, how I am constantly a part of the experience. One of the few television shows I actually like on television is Person of Interest, an interesting story about technology, hacking, surveillance, computers, and using computer systems to violate people's privacy and spy on them. And Person of Interest is a great show with great characters, great plot twists, but I'd much rather just play Watch Dogs, where I'm doing the hacking, using cameras to survey the area, using the internet and computer systems to find out information on certain individuals or targets, controlling everything technological with the press of a button, all the while chasing criminals, hacking bank accounts, and looking damn cool with a silenced pistol and a face mask. Some people like the television show Once Upon a Time. I personally do not. I find that it's too formulaic, doesn't take too many chances, and is very cliched. And also, with such an interesting premise and plot, I think they squander it far too much. I mean, it's an interesting premise, fairy tales coming to life and living in the modern world. But why watch that when I can watch and play The Wolf Among Us? With The Wolf Among Us, it's not the campy, kid-friendly versions of these fairy tales. It's the grim, dark versions. There's death, there's blood, there's misery, there is suspense, even elements of horror. You play as the big bad wolf, for God's sakes, who has to uncover this mystery of a gruesome murder, all the while battling the demons of his past from the people he killed as the big bad wolf. There's also Snow White, the huntsman, Ichabod Crane, Beauty and the Beast. Fairy tale characters come to life and brought into this dark, realistic, gritty world. It's far more engaging and far more interesting than the PG formulaic version of Once Upon a Time. And not just that, with The Wolf Among Us, you get to change the story, interact with it, make interesting and drastic choices that will completely change and affect the story. With that there, you're able to replay the game over and over again to get different results. Can't get that with a TV show. Once the episode's recorded, it's done. Nothing can be changed. There are no alternate versions to the episodes, unlike a game that can be replayed over and over again and get different choices, different results, and watch something different that you created, you helped create, with the options given to you. Another problem with television is action series or science fiction series. Hell, fantasy series. The very few fantasy, science fiction, and action series or television shows that are brought on. There's a problem with each of these genres when it comes to television, and that is the curse of a limited budget. These shows may have interesting stories, but they can't bring the characters or action, set pieces, creatures, or something to life properly. An example of this is the television show Supernatural. I love Supernatural, it's a great show. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I'm disappointed by the show as all hell. It's supposed to have all these dark fantasy creatures come to life in the modern world as these brothers try to hunt them down, and you get excited to see these creatures. But then they just turn out to be people. Humans that look slightly different or have a special power. That's not what you want to see. When I watch a show about monsters and demons, I want to see monsters and demons. This is not a demon. This is not a werewolf. This is not a vampire. This is a werewolf. This is a vampire. And this is a demon. So many television shows that focus on science fiction, fantasy, or action, with the limited budget they have, can't bring the things they want to bring to life, or bring them to life properly. Just as I just displayed, those creatures. In the show, they're just people with slight makeup on, or a lame, easy-to-create special effect. I mean, look at Star Trek. Star Trek has an interesting, massive developing plots in each Star Trek series. But the aliens are so lame! It's so obviously dudes in makeup. With a video game, this kind of stuff doesn't happen. You can bring creatures to life, characters to life, set pieces to life, and they won't look like people. Monsters will look like monsters. Aliens will look like aliens. And if you're strictly an action series, you don't need to have those so many scenes we have seen in countless action television shows. The amount of chase scenes with one person running after another. God, that has been done to death. In actual action video games, you get what you want. You see what you came for. Action, explosions, gunfire, and not just in a short 1 to 2 minute scenes. Half an hour-long action. It's what you came for, and it's unfortunately what these television shows can't unfortunately deliver. So, television shows, good ones, are few and far between. There are far too many copy and paste, boring, done-to-death shows. Video games are far more interactive and engaging, and they can actually portray characters, creatures, and set pieces to life in a far more appealing way. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Let me know in the comments below. Please, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to keep up with my upcoming content, and I will see you guys in the next one. So, later.